my left ankle. But yeah, it can affect people in many different ways. I think one of the reasons it's not as well known is it can be quite varied in the way it affects people. So I also have neurofibromas as a common way, which are basically small little tumours on your skin, which although are non-cancerous can cause people a lot of pain and irritation. I have a few, luckily, like there's 2 on my chin here, but some people can be covered in them and be very, very disfigured. I mean, I forgot the name of this condition now. For many years, the Elephant Man was supposedly had this condition, which wasn't the case. But I wish I had pictures to show you. If you type in like neurofibromas, you'll see what I mean. They can cover people's bodies and cause a lot of problems. They can affect, people's again. It's quite a common comorbidity with learning difficulties, learning disabilities, neurodiversities. For me, I think although I am neurodiverse, I don't think it actually comes from the NF. I think my family is just very undiagnosed. But yeah, there's many other ways that can affect people. And yeah, it's one of those things. Although it's quite common, 1 in 3,000 people, it's not very well known of, particularly when you look at other things. And it can, but again, a lot of people don't even know they have it until they pass it on to a child. If I just had the situation with my eyes, I wouldn't know at all because I don't have any issues with my eyesight or problems. But obviously this has caused me a lot of problems, and I have a lot of friends who are constantly in hospital with issues, and I'm quite lucky with my application. But yeah, it's any questions. I find it very difficult about PowerPoint, so I'm just going to say everything. But I don't know if anyone has any questions.
How is it to airport security? Said you went to lots of places.
Airport security can be fun. I mean, actually, this was actually taken in Utah because I went to a summer camp with teenagers with the same condition as me. And when I went, this was also before amputation, when I went for security, they asked me to take my slip off so they can go through my leg, and I was like, no, that's actually my leg. Because in airport security, they thought it was like a big bandage marked on my skin. But airport security,
full of drugs.
Basically, I don't know. But in general, it's quite easy. I just normally, it's like the only. So I can actually get through airport security, even though I haven't got any e-passport anymore. I can go through quite simple, because I'm in a wheelchair. But yeah, normally when because I take my leg off during flights, my stump can swell, so then I can't wear my leg off, for an hour after, it's too big. So I normally just book airport security, like the wheelchairs, and go straight through. Well, it's still queues, but not as bad. I'm in Europe, but yeah, it can be problematic with the metal detector, but I just let them know when I first go through, they do the pat down. I just let them know, and yeah, they have to swab it separately in case there's any explosives or whatever.
It's full of guns, explosives, drugs.
Yeah, so they still swab it, but just for the most part, I've only had one bad interaction with security.
What's the main way that neurofibromas? What is the main way it affects you today?
I think, in terms of the condition, I think just the legacy of my amputation mainly. I'm quite fortunate to be in a position, although this was quite horrific, the amputation has created a lot of benefits from it. And I normally call the amputation the best day of my life because of how much it's given me freedom and mitigating pain. Firstly, I have one close friend in California, and they have a lot of internal tumours, so they're constantly in and out of hospital. They've basically got no sensation. They've just admitted for the last 6 months because they had a UTI and didn't know about it because of where the tumours were pushing on their nervous system. They had numbness. They've now been hospitalised for the last 4 months and things. So, and they're on a whole mitigated drugs and steroids for it. So I think, again, compared to some of my friends in a quite fortunate position, and then I have others, it barely affects them. So I think it's one of those things. For me, I think at this point it is the legacy of the application. It's only really now 10 years on, I realise the effect that does affect me in a negative way because this was so much worse. But I think,
and sort of follow up. What's the difference between how does it affect you? The difference between, let's say, having a natural leg, normal leg, and your amputation. What's the difference, and what are the things that you would be able to do with your amputation?
if I hadn't have had it.
No, with your prosthetic leg.
What can I do?
Yeah. What can't you do with your prosthetic leg that, let's say, I might be able to do?
If I had 2 healthy legs.
Yeah.
I think quite a lot of things. I think just basics, I think particularly if I'm having full neurodepression burn as well, I can't just get out of bed. There's another thing, a barrier. So I often bed a lot. It gets blistered. I then can't wear it for a short time, which basically leaves me immobile. Even something like hip payments, you know, the government no longer register prosthetic legs as a mobility aid, so I can't. I get our action every time. So there's a lot of problems around there and how that's sort of seen. And even like little things, I'd love just where we are just to go and have a swim in the sea, but I can't go. I don't go in with my leg. I can't go in, so unless someone's helping me, which I've never really had, I can't just necessarily go for a swim with things. Like if it's really tired or sore, just walking around campus sometimes can be difficult. On good days, for the most part, I'm on unequal with someone who is able-bodied. On bad days, it's not. And I think the way you get treated, you either get infantilized a lot. People are like, oh, like, I'm trying to overhelp you, or you're considered as having like no disability and you're fine. So, you know, unless your placenta is really struggling, it's not. So it's getting that balance is right. So just like little things make a big difference in terms of support. Like again, having like some quite fortunate to have a car, like a blue badge, things like that, or people just being aware. In my first semester, I struggled quite a lot because I had lectures back to back. I would like up here and then down, got a little bit of campus, so that can be quite difficult. So just little things like that can make it, you know, in terms of mobility. But for the most part, it's fine. It's just putting those little things in place so I don't get burned out and stuff. But there are ways it affects me. But again, I think it's always go back to this is what it was before. It's only really now I'm thinking, oh, it still affects me, but.
So are there any other like tools that you use that help support you in your day-to-day life besides the prosthetic?
In terms of mobility aids?
Yeah.
Not really. I think as long as this leg is working and functioning, I'm completely fine. Problem is if something does go wrong or breaks with it, I'm then completely immobile straight away. There's only one time that's happened, and that was actually when I was working in the United States, working at university. I worked as a camp counsellor for about 2 months, and the lock broke. But luckily, that was in a position where I could access it. You know, it was about hours away. Like the person who's in charge of the camp helped me, and luckily that was covered on my travel insurance. So in the US, I was a bit worried because it was only like a simple lock. But yeah, as long as the mechanics are fine, I'm fine. So I don't really need anything else. But if that does go wrong, I would then be very, very restricted. So I do have crutches in my house, which I've not used yet, but they're always there if I need it. And I think my car is a big thing. I don't know if you can call that mobility aid.
Yeah.
And if I have it, when I have a shower stool I can just sit on and wash it. Because for many years I tried, I'm fine, I can go, and I'll just sit on the floor of my shower, and I finish a shower stool now. Getting those levels of support does make a big difference.
Thank you.
And the only thing I forgot to say is, like, again, a common way to diagnose it is called café au lait marks, which is like coffee and milk in French. So I have a few around my body. One of the ones on my hand here. And most people think they are birthmarks, which they effectively are, but it's the most common way to be diagnosed. That's how I was diagnosed so young, because I was only 15 months old. Most people are a lot older. Sorry, I forgot. I should have started with this story of how I was diagnosed rather than right at the end. So, because when I was 15 months old, every time I tried to walk, I would buckle over my leg, and you know, my mum at first thought it was sore skin, so we rubbed cream on it, and when that wouldn't go away, she was like, something's not right here. But when she took me to the GP, I say like something's not right with my daughter, and they were basically trying to like, oh no, she's fine, you're just over worried. She was like, no, I have like 2 other children. You know, my eldest sister is 20 years older than me, so she'd been a mum by 20 years at that point, and she works in general practice. So she's like, no, something is not right. So then when I got put into the paediatrics, they diagnosed me straight away with café au lait marks. So although they are harmless themselves, normally if you have more than 6 of them, there's like a 95% chance you have it. So I know a lot of people, when I had this talk, actually was like, oh, hang on a minute, I have this, and then got themselves checked out. So if you have these, again, you can't really tell with my hand here, but small little brown marks on your skin. If you have more than, I think it's more than 6, it's a 95% likelihood that you do have it. And then, but it's, although they're harmless, it's a very good way to diagnose big people, and how a few people get diagnosed now as babies to then start treatment. But if you have any more questions, you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. That was amazing. Thank you so much as well. Thank you guys for also asking questions and things like that. That's great. Yeah, so I'd like to introduce Tom, who would like to speak about what he's dealing with.
Yeah.